package. What I really mean to say is, ain't no off season.
Hello YouTube, welcome to No Off Season Media, and today I am back. But let's get it started today. It's very interesting because usually we start with game picks, but we have something very interesting to talk over. It's about Tua Tagovailoa, who was drafted by the Miami Dolphins in the 2020 draft, which happened back in April. He is now confirmed to be the starter, and something that's very interesting is that the Dolphins are 3-3 and looking actually the second place in the division, behind right in front of the New England Patriots and behind the Buffalo Bills. But something interesting is that why move off to Tua so early in the season? And that's something very interesting that I wanted to talk about, because the thing is with Tua and Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tua, we still evaluating the hip injury that he had, but I haven't been hearing any whispers about that. But the thing that I can take away from this is the way Ryan Fitzpatrick acted. And I'll have a clip in the audio to show you how the way he reacted right here.
I was shocked by it. It definitely caught me off guard. And, it was a hard thing for me to hear yesterday, just kind of digesting the news. My heart just hurt all day. Like it was heartbreaking for me. It still just, it broke my heart yesterday. And, it's a tough thing for me to hear and to now have to deal with, but, I'm going to do my best with it.
Something very interesting, heartbroken. Saddened. And just understanding how an NFL player or even a quarterback has done. But the thing that shocks me is that the Dolphins are they're in the playoff picture. That's something very interesting. They're in the playoff picture. They could possibly make a run. They got the Rams coming up. That's when Tua's first start. But they got the Rams coming on November the 1st. But let's say Tua loses that game. They have to face Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, two great defenders. That's not great to put a rookie into that game. So that's something very interesting. But take account, Ryan Fitzpatrick has played significantly well against all the teams. He's went 3-3. He beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I call rebuilding, beat the Niners, who were injury prone, and then beat a Jets team. Actually, shut out the Jets 24-0. So it's pretty. He has played really phenomenal. But I don't understand why you move off from Tua. Now, they got some very tough games coming up. The competition, let's say he plays in the foreseeable, season. He has the Rams. Then he has to go to Arizona. The Chargers with Justin Herbert, who could be Rookie of the Year. Who knows? Then you got Denver, who just beat my New England Patriots. The Jets, gone. Bengals, don't know. Chiefs, lost. Patriots struggled down there in Miami. Raiders, who knows? Bills, lost. So from what I can see, you could potentially lose, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6, 7 games with Tua. But I think with how the way they're going with the Dolphins I think Ryan Fitzpatrick outperformed himself as a starter. And I think they expected him to be 1-5. Or maybe 2-4, and say, yeah, maybe the reason why he went to get off Tua. But this, he went 3-3 and then into the bye week. I don't know why you would move off of Ryan Fitzpatrick so quickly. You heard in his voice. Just the disheartening. He had to hear from. imagine not even getting the news from your coach. You're getting the news from your friends, your family. News media. Media is just one hell of a thing, but getting all this information and not even getting it from the coach over a Zoom call. I don't think they're thinking about playoffs right now. And think about the players. The players have been always up on Ryan Fitzpatrick, always appreciating him, how great of a leader he has been. And you just took the leader out of the locker room. And, how's that going to address to the players? Their contracts, whoever's getting paid whatever amount of money they are. But what about the foreseeable future got to do with their contracts? What if the defenders and the wide receivers and the running backs? What if they're on 1-year deals? That looks bad on their part. So just take accounting for what has to go on. But I don't think it's a great move by the Dolphins. Who knows? Maybe they might be actively trying to make this a lost season. I wouldn't necessarily be happy with that as a player. But let's get to Week 7 picks because this is something very interesting we have to talk about. I have something for my bettors and somebody who loves to make game picks. I have some for you guys. We have the Lions playing against the Falcons. The Falcons came off their first win. Didn't blow the lead for the first time. Isn't that great? Great job, Falcons. I got to give you guys an applause for that. I'm so happy for the Falcons. Really great. But, I mean, to take accounting for what you have to offer here, I mean, the Detroit Lions came off a victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars last game. What I have to make of this team? I mean, the Falcons are great offensively. We already know that. Defensively, not so much. Same thing with the Lions. Defensively, I mean, the defense have shown better when they played against first or second-year quarterbacks. That's what I can't say because they beat Kyler Murray, who was a second-year quarterback, and Gardner Minshew, who was a second-year quarterback. So with Matt Ryan actually doing the system with the new interim head coach, I think they should handily beat the Lions. I mean, usually I'd never bet Atlanta, but Atlanta's falling into that same thing they did last season. They always have this horrible start, and they start picking it back up. So this is just very interesting. Now, the line here is 2.5. That's a great line. I'm going to take Atlanta to win the game. Let's say 31-26. It's over the 2.5. So for my sports bettors, take the Falcons minus 2.5. But as far as my game pick, I'm taking the Falcons. Next game here, we have the Buffalo Bills traveling to New York, the Big Apple, to play the New York Jets, who are just god awful. And what I have to take away from this game is, when is Adam Gase going to go? Because Adam Gase, I mean, he's ruined this team. The locker room's not there. I call this the worst Gase scenario because this is the worst case you could be, and you still haven't fired Adam Gase. I'm not sure if Sam Darnold's going to play in this game. I had to take a look at the injury report on that one. But overall, I mean, the Bills have came back back-to-back losses to the Titans and the Chiefs. That's wow. An average score of what, like 20, was like 25 points? Let me see. They had 49, 42. Then they lost by, somewhere around there. So, I mean, just take a look. I mean, the Jets are not good. Adam Gase, Buffalo. I mean, are the Bills fraudulent is what I keep hearing, and I don't think the Bills are fraudulent. But you have to take account in for is that the Bills do not do well against great teams. And ironically, last year, who they beat? The Dallas Cowboys. They couldn't beat Philadelphia. They couldn't beat New England's of all team. I mean, with Buffalo, they always have to beat up these bad teams, but when it comes to the really, really good teams, they don't really falter so much. Well, they beat Pittsburgh last year, but Pittsburgh had Devlin Hodges, like a undrafted rookie. So just taking account for what Buffalo has been presented as far as the schedule. But I think Buffalo will rout the Jets. I mean, people who are in Buffalo, who live in Buffalo, or even Buffalo Bills fans know that this is going to be an utter blowout because Adam Gase is not a very good coach. And, I mean, Sam Darnold is a great quarterback, but I hate to hear the rumors that take for Trevor for the Jets because they feel like it's Sam Darnold's fault or whatever. I'm going to let you know this right now. Nothing has to do with Sam Darnold as far as this team. And I just feel bad that the position that Sam Darnold is in. And Sam Darnold has great talent. But if they had to move off Sam Darnold, I mean, I move off the coach, but if they had to move off Sam Darnold, then I just feel bad for the young man. But, that's just how the NFL is. The line here says 12.5. Josh Allen against Sam Darnold is 2-1. He leads the series. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to actually cover and blow the Jets out. As I said, they're 12.5 point favorites. So I'm going to take the Bills to win 33-10. As I said, absolute rout. The Jets are just no good. Couldn't even score points against the Dolphins. What's going to happen against the Buffalo Bills? Who knows? But let's go to another game, the Battle of Ohio, Part 2. So here's the thing about the Battle of Ohio. We saw this game on Thursday Night Football in Week 2. Joe Burrow against Baker Mayfield. But what I had to take away from this part of the game is, can Joe Burrow actually pull off upset, or how we look against the Browns defense? And the thing is, Joe Burrow has played significantly well against the Browns defense, even when the Browns were at home. And what also kind of scares me for the Browns is that when they played last game, Nick Chubb went off in the game and, ran a whole bunch of rushing yards, and OBJ played a factor as well too. But here's my thing. Nick Chubb is injured. Obviously, we already know that. But you have to take account in for how is OBJ going to play. Because OBJ has been on very thin ice when it comes with the Browns. Because he just said something earlier about double standards. Whenever I try to do something, it's like a distraction. But whenever Brady does something, it's for passion. And it's just double standards. And when it comes to that, it's like, what do you have to... the reputation is obviously a key factor when it comes to this. But when we all remember, as far as us football fans, what happened when OBJ went against Josh Norman down there in 2015, and headshots and fighting went all over the field. It just, that reputation kept carrying over for Odell Beckham. The net thing, what happened in 2016, and that's what really hindered a lot of, or actually not necessarily hindered, but sabotaged OBJ's reputation. But when Tom Brady does it, it's like, oh, it's all passion. But who knows? But overall, I think now Baker is 4-1. He has taken the Bengals out handily. The reason why he's 4-1 is because he lost last year to the Bengals, and I think, I don't know. Do I want to take this? Yes, I am. Let me see. The Browns are favored by 3.5. Okay, so why is it 3.5? As a bettor, I would stay away from this game. Yes, I would stay away from this game if I was a bettor. But I'm going to take the upset of the week. This is my upset of the week. I'm taking the Bengals over the Browns in the Battle of Ohio Part 2. And I'm taking the Bengals to win 27-23. Baker Mayfield has not been playing well for the past 3 weeks, dating back to actually the Colts game. Then he hasn't played well against the Steelers. Now he has the Bengals. So, that game on week 2 was really close. But let's take account for that. So I'm taking the upset of the week. This is the Bengals over Browns. Next game, we have an NFC East divisional matchups. Not really something to happy about. But we have the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Washington FT, or football team. And battle of the NFC East. I guess we're happy about that. Chase Young against Ezekiel Elliott. That's how the way I see everything. How is Andy Dalton going to be against Ron Rivera's great defensive line of Washington? I don't know why I feel like this game is like... I wouldn't even watch this game. If Dak was here, obviously it'd be a great game to watch. But now it's just god-awful. The Cowboys had a brutal game against the Arizona Cardinals. But, is there a lot to count for that game? Yes, it is. It tells me how bad the Cowboys defense is and how bad Andy Dalton has become with that offensive line. Everybody on the offensive line is injured. Wow. So, just taking into account, Kyle Allen is not really great for Washington, obviously. Hasn't been playing particularly well. Could have won the game against the Giants. But why would you ask Kyle Allen to do a 2-point conversion? Ask yourself that question. But yet again, let's talk about this game. The line is 3.5 Cowboys. Now, here's my thing. I don't trust the Cowboys whatsoever. I don't even trust Mike McCarthy whatsoever. I don't even trust Jerry Jones whatsoever. And I made a big mistake by taking the Cowboys last week because I thought it was going to be some Dallas Magic. Clock struck high noon on the Cowboys, okay? That's all I can tell you. Clock struck high noon on them. And they're not a very good team. Will they win a division? Probably. It's between them and the Eagles. But 3.5 is way too much for me to take Dallas. I know Washington has lost they haven't beaten the Cowboys since 2018 with Alex Smith, but I'm not taking the Dallas Cowboys minus 3.5. It's way too much. I don't trust them whatsoever. So I'm gonna take Washington plus 3.5. I'm taking the Cowboys to win though, because I think 4 points is way too much. 3.5 is way too much. So I'm gonna take the Cowboys to win 20-17. A really low scoring game. And that's how the Cowboys are gonna have to win games if it's like very low scoring. I don't trust Kyle Allen one bit. So take the take the Cowboys to win 20-17. Oof, this is a good game here. We have Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Aaron Rodgers has played significantly well in the state of Texas. He has played significantly well, but here is my theory about the Packers. The Packers are going to do great this year. They're going to do great. But when they play these really good defenses, they're not going to play well. So what you have to take account in for is that the Houston Texans defense has not been that Houston Texans defense that we're accustomed to. And with the Packers, I think this is going to be their bounce back game. I think it is. And I'm going to tell you why it's going to be a bounce back game for the Packers. And I'm going to show you one of my theories that I still go by. Whenever a team is humiliated on a nationally televised game, or let's say they lose on I'll use a team for an example. San Francisco. San Francisco got throttled by the Miami Dolphins. I think it was like 43-17, 43-14, one of those scores. And what happened? Everybody took the Rams. And I said no. I told my friends, I said no, do not take the Rams whatsoever. This is a bad spot for the Rams. And what happened? Even though everybody was taking the Rams, I said, I'm going to take the 49ers. 49ers won. And I said, that's what I'm accustomed to with my theory, is that if you get humiliated badly, you're going to bounce back. Unless you're like a really poor team like Jacksonville or the Jets. The Jets will not bounce back. But you have to take account in for what was offered. Now, here's the thing. The Packers got humiliated against the Bucs. This is going to be the bounce back game. And let me switch over to the Texans. The Texans could have beaten the Titans, but they didn't. They lost in overtime. That has kind of, in the Texans case, has kind of put more air out of the bag in terms of there's nothing left. They're 1-5. I mean, the last team that was 1-5 and made the playoffs was the 2015 Chiefs. But the Texans are not great. They're obviously missing DeAndre Hopkins, offensive line issues still, defensive line issues, even with J.J. Watt. Even back in the secondary is so bad. So I'm going to take the Packers to just throttle the Houston Texans. I'm going to pick the Packers to win 35-23, and this is my guarantee of the week. Just so you know, this is my guarantee of the week. I'm taking the Packers over the Texans. All right, here's another one. We have master versus understudy. Now, what does that mean? Teddy Bridgewater versus Drew Brees. Now, Teddy Bridgewater did play for the Saints last year. Something very, very interesting. So, he knows how Drew Brees plays. That's actually one good thing to know. They're able to understand how Drew Brees plays. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater's ceiling is really, really low. But, I mean, it could be high, but it's really, really low how the way he performs. But do I think the Panthers can come in here and upset? That's something very interesting to account for. I mean, I don't like their defense, but I do love their offense. Same with the Saints. I love their offense, but I really don't love their defense. So just something very interesting to take account in for. So something very interesting. The point spread is 7.5. That's very interesting to point out there. I'm actually, and then the Panthers haven't beaten the Saints since 2018. So let's just remember that. And then the only reason why they beat them was because it was week 17. They already locked up the division already, and Teddy Bridgewater ironically played in that game. Yeah, I'm going to take the Panthers plus 7.5. I mean, we've seen how the Saints have played. Ironically, against the Chargers, they haven't played particularly well. Now they get the Panthers, who have beaten the Chargers. So I'm gonna take the Saints to win but the Panthers do cover with 7.5. So I'm going to take the Saints to win 30-27, something a lot more closer than people predicted to be. A lot of people taking the Saints minus 7.5. This game could be a potential upset, but I don't see it going that far. All right, here we go. We got the battle of the unbeatens. We have the Steelers against the Titans. Now, both teams have came off, well, one team, actually both, yeah. Both teams actually came off big wins. Unless you count the Browns as a big win, the Steelers throttled them, and I mean it was like 38-7. Okay. Then the Titans came off an overtime victory against the Houston Texans after they failed a 2-point conversion, and which led Tennessee to go down the field and go score a touchdown and force the game in overtime. Derrick Henry hail the king, and he went down and scored a touchdown off of Wildcat. So, just something very interesting to take away from this game. The Steelers have played significantly well against great teams. That's one good thing I can say about this. But that Steelers defense with that run D, I mean, what do the Titans do well in? Run, play action, we win games that way. So, what I would do is, this is very, very interesting. Now, the line is 2.5. This is going to be about the Unbeatens. So, Vegas is predicting this to be a field goal game. As I said, Steelers have not lost to the Titans since 2013. That's something very interesting to take accounting for. I am going to take the Titans plus 2.5. Okay, I'm going to take the Titans plus 2.5, but the Steelers win. Okay, I have it as a 1-point victory for the Steelers. 31-30. Just something very interesting. I think Chris Boswell makes a late field goal to win the game or something. So that's why I have it going. This game was supposed to be on Sunday night, but I just got some new alert that apparently they switched the schedule up. We had the Bucks and Raiders. Ain't looking too good for the Raiders right now. Their whole entire offensive line starters have been put on COVID reserve. Have been put on COVID reserve list. Derek Carr is going to be facing a lot of pressure. And I mean, you know what that means, right? They can't show up for 3 weeks. So the Raiders just came off their bye week. So the Raiders, let's see. The Raiders in the next 3 weeks, they got the Bucks with a good pass rush. They got the Browns with a good pass rush. And they got the Chargers with a good pass rush. Eesh. I mean, the Raiders, man. Off the whole entire O-line is on COVID reserve list. That means they're out for 3 weeks. So, that's awful. That's, wow, Raiders, wow. After Trent Brown got diagnosed with COVID, obviously that's the reason why they're there. But that's taken count in for. Tom Brady has played significantly better, but does it make the Bucks Super Bowl contenders after beating the Packers? No. No, I'm not going to go there with no. The defense can play significantly well, but the offense need to pick it up into another groove. I'm sorry. They're not in my Super Bowl contender list. And it's not me being a Brady hater. I just need to see more better from the special teams and the offense to make it a Super Bowl contender. So the line here is 2.5 Bucks. Now it's a return of John Gruden. Both teams have played in Super Bowl 37 that happened back in 2002. Man, I was only 3 years old when that happened. Yes, wow. 3 years old. But I'm going to take the Bucks to win handily against the Raiders. I think the Raiders do come back in the game. I feel bad for the Raiders. I take the Bucks to win 30-21. Raiders get a late touchdown to make the score look better than it actually really was. So I'm going to take the Raiders to lose by 9 to the Bucks. Next game, we have a mile-high catastrophe. It's called Patrick Mahomes going to Mile High to play the Denver Broncos. He has never lost to the Broncos in his career. The Broncos have not beaten the Chiefs since week 2 of 2015. Something very interesting to look out. But are the Chiefs, what's going to happen with the Chiefs over the season? I mean, they're looking pretty good with the way they're running the football. So, I mean, taking more pressure off Patrick Mahomes. That's great. The defense needs to step it up a little bit, but they'll be fine. Le'Veon Bell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire playing significantly well. The Broncos, I don't know what's up with their offense. Their offense only scored 18 points against my Patriots, but the Chiefs are favored by 8.5. And the Broncos have not beaten the Chiefs since 2015 of week 2 with Peyton Manning. Let that sink in. And I'm going to take the Chiefs. The Broncos in a very bad spot here. Couldn't even score against the Patriots defense. And, I mean, they had, 3 to 4 turnovers in that game. I want to say 4 turnovers, and you only could beat them by 6. Yeah, yawn Broncos. So this is going to be a catastrophe. And I'm going to take the Chiefs to win 26-16. It's just a lot of points. Kansas City is going to obviously cover because Denver doesn't do well against the pass or running the football because New England's doesn't even have any, how can I say this? Doesn't even have wide receivers that can separate. So there you go. All right, so we have the Niners and the Patriots. I call this the return of Jimmy G. My friend thinks Jimmy G is Jimmy Graham. No, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. He returns back to the New England Patriots in Foxborough after New England Patriots traded him to the San Francisco 49ers back in 2017. Now, this is going to be very interesting. Now, am I more surprised how the way the Niners are, or am I more surprised how the Patriots have been playing? I'm more shocked at how the Patriots been playing. And I'm going to be really honest with you. The Patriots, last year, last week, let's take account for it. Last week, the Patriots obviously had a lot of scheduling issues, right? We don't know when this team is going to play. We don't know when this is going to happen. And they started doing a lot of reshuffling of the schedule. So I'm more shocked that the Patriots are 2-3 than the 49ers are 3-3 because I told everybody the Niners are gonna have a Super Bowl hangover, and I was right about it. And obviously we see that. So and you can't account for the injuries as well too, but that's another reason why you're 3-3 San Francisco. But I'm more shocked the Patriots are 2-3 because I had them at least going second place in the division. Now they're third behind the Dolphins and the Bills. But let's start with it here. Bill Belichick has the upper hand in this game. Let's be real. Bill Belichick has the upper hand in this game because he knows how Garoppolo has played throughout practice. So he knows what his weaknesses are. So, I'm shocked that the Patriots are 2.5 point favorites. Everybody wants to take San Francisco plus 2.5. Belichick has a losing record against the 49ers, and we know that. But obviously, I'm going to take the Patriots. Not being a Patriot fan or a Patriot homer, I am going to take the Patriots to win 23-19. I don't trust Cam. I still don't even trust Cam right now. As far as that offense, they need to get a wide receiver pronto. They need to get one pronto. So the Patriots, you got a lot of work to do. You're 2-3. You have some key teams coming up. You got the Bills after this week. Then you got the Jets. You should roll, and then you got the Ravens. So you have a lot to do, New England. But let's start with another one. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Los Angeles to play the Chargers, and the Chargers. This is the shock of the league, to be honest, with how the way Justin Herbert's been playing. So that's why I had to add that pun in there. Shock of the league. But overall, Justin Herbert, he might get Rookie of the Year. I'm going to be really honest with you. He might get Rookie of the Year. And just the way he's been playing with the Chargers have been significantly well. Now, what I have to take away from this, the Chargers are favored by 8.5. That's what I can take away from it, but that's way too much points. How many division games are the Chargers going to keep losing? That's my question. How many one-possession games are going to keep losing? And I don't know. So, it says here the Chargers are favored by 8.5. I'm going to take the Jags plus 8.5, not a potential upset, but the 8.5 is just way too many points for sports bettors. But I'm going to take the Chargers to win 26-20, something a little bit more closer than that. It's obviously going to be one possession because that's what the Chargers always do. So take the Jags plus 8.5. We have a Sunday Night Football matchup between the Seahawks and the Cardinals, the battle of the Wild Wild West. But let's think about it. The Seahawks and the Cardinals. Let's see. Can Russ continue his MVP-like performance? I think he can. But you also have to take account in for the former offensive rookie of the year in Kyler Murray. And obviously he's going to be great for the Cardinals. But here's my thing. The Cardinals have not beaten the Seahawks at home since 2012. Let it sink in. 2012. So what I'm going to do is the Seahawks are favored by 3.5. I'm actually going to take the Seahawks to just outright roll the Cardinals because they're obviously great against the Cardinals. The Seahawks are. And they always blow out the Cardinals. I mean, exception for that one tie, but they always beat the Cardinals by like 20 plus points. And that's exactly what's going to happen in this game. I'm actually going to take Seattle just to roll the Cardinals. What, now 31-10? Yeah, 31-10. There you go. And last game, we have potentially a defensive showdown between the Chicago Bears and the Los Angeles Rams. And I think this is going to be defensive showing of the year between Mac and Donald. But here's my thing. Who is going to have a more productive day? Mac or Donald? I'm going to have to go with Mac on this one. And the thing I'm going to go with Mac on this one is that I think the offensive line of the Rams is not great, and we already know that. But here's the thing. Chicago's good against the run. They always good against run. And the Rams, they play a little bit spotty sometimes. So that's something very interesting to take account in for. But yes, the Bears and the Rams, it's always been very defensively. The Bears actually have the season series over the Rams. I think the Bears have always beaten them. I can't imagine what's the number on that one, how many times they've beaten the Rams and the Rams have beaten the Bears. But in this case, the Rams are favored by 5.5. I'm actually going to take the Bears plus 5. I think it's going to be a defensive game, so 5 is way too much. But I'm going to take the Rams to win 19-16, something a lot more closer than that. But that's it for No Off-Season Media. It's been great to have you guys here. Those are my game and spread picks as far as my thinking about how Tua's going to do. But I really want to apologize for the sun, though, because the sun has always been just beaming over here. But that's it for No Off-Season Media. I will catch you guys later. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. I will be more consistent. Trust me, I will be. But I'll catch you guys later.